You there, Greek, what is best in life?
To meme your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their activists.
Yeah. Right. So what I'm going to be talking about today is memeing your enemies, because that is one of the few things that is left that we're allowed to do in Britain. But I'm going to talk about the importance of it more generally in politics. I'm not going to keep it Britain specific, because it's a principle of politics that is very important. So here we have an article saying, British woman arrested for sharing malicious and inaccurate information on social media. So it's pretty obvious here that they're trying to control the population, aren't they? You know, it's pretty flagrant. It's pretty obvious. They're just trying to crush dissent. This isn't legitimate. This wouldn't exist in a society that was actually governed by the will of the people to appeal to that populist nonsense. But yes, this is an extraordinary measure, and it takes extraordinary memes to fight it. So I wanted to talk briefly about the power of memes, because not only is making someone laugh at someone else, that's a very powerful way to dismantle them without people even having to understand the point you're making. If you can make people laugh at other people, you've done a great thing there for your own cause. And that's part of the reason why comedy is so safeguarded, because comedians understand the power of a laugh, right?
Yeah.
And so right-wing comedians are gate-kept out, because if they poke fun at the left, then all of a sudden they lose their power, don't they?
They lose the spell they have of that they have casted with the propaganda.
It's similar to how in the Bible, if you name a demon, it actually recoils in pain.
Yeah, Valak.
So if you tease a leftist, you know, they recoil in pain because they don't have thick skin. They can't take it. And I think that if you're proposing interfering in other people's lives, but you can't take a mild bit of criticism, then you shouldn't be in that position in the first place. And the second thing is, as well, with censorship as it is online, particularly in European countries, you've got to be a bit creative with how you push your political messaging. And therefore, memes offer a very good way of getting around these sorts of things. And I'm going to go over some things that if you said them perhaps publicly, you might get in some trouble, but in the format of a meme, of comedy, all of a sudden it's more acceptable. And we should be using this, because not only does it point out the left are weak and pathetic, which they are, we've got the easiest opponents ever. You know, they're freaks. They're genuinely freaks. Just look at them. Like I tweeted out the other day, a left-wing protest, and I said, spot the normal person. You can't, because it's a coalition of the bullied. And therefore, we need to get to our rightful place of bullying them in return. Bring back some order to the chaos, as Peterson might say. And let's have a look at some of my examples.
Back to order.
So here we have Elon Musk. I don't know why this one's first. That was meant to be third, but here it is anyway. This is one of the main ones. I thought this was interesting because, of course, the implication here is that the Met officer, or the police officer in the middle, is about to be screwed over by the Islamist gentlemen stood around him, because this is a meme that already exists. It's kind of a gross meme. Connor didn't even want us to show it. But here it is.
I think I should do a segment with Connor. I will target him now.
But the meme at the top, if you don't understand it, is it's a pornographic clip. It's an image from that. That is the context of it. I didn't even understand it at first. I had to look at Know Your Meme. But there we go. Elon Musk, the world's richest man, tweeting out criticism via memes of the police. And it's done in a very powerful way, isn't it? Because this appeals to the sort of inner innate need to mock weakness that we have. People may ideologically trick themselves out of thinking that weakness is bad, but by teasing it, it strikes true, doesn't it?
Yeah, you show how ridiculous it is. And we have a saying in Greece that says that one picture is worth 1,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
if we've got that too.
Yeah, I think so. Basically, that's more of a theme. And you can I think it requires a lot of skill.
Mm-hmm.
because you really need to show the substance of an issue.
Well, I think that comedy is the ultimate test of social skills, because you've got to not only read one person, you've got to read a room and make them laugh as well. So it's got to be something novel. So you've got to be really in touch with the world around you. So here's another one. This is, of course, Tummy Robinson and the colour swash chart, figuring out whether someone is mentally ill or a terrorist. And this is, of course, commentary on the news that whenever a minority commits something, it's mental health. If it's a white person, they're a terrorist, or they're a danger to democracy, or they're given agency, which is hilarious to me, that they're just like, oh, this brown guy, he didn't know what he was doing. He just did an accidental act of terrorism. It was just a mistake. He's good, really. Oh, there's that again. So yeah, it seems
you really want to show this meme.
Well, I didn't put that in there. Thank you, Samson. So here's another one. This is the dog meme. So we will conquer the world. The sun will never set on our glorious empire. And I think that's Colour Sergeant Bourne up there. And you can't post that. But then when Muslims post the same thing, the police respond, Salam alaikum, when it's in the name of Sharia. And it's just showing that if you're a British patriot, the police will prevent you from voicing your own patriotism. If you're an Islamist, they'll help you.
Yeah.
And the evidence from the past few weeks is sort of incontrovertible. It's indisputable, isn't it? We know that this is going on. This is the police response. They explicitly say in their guidelines that they treat different communities differently. And so this is communicating that message without a wall of text. Anyone can understand this, even a moron. So here is a meme that our very own Pete... This was Pete from behind the scenes, who people love in the chat on the website. He made this one himself. Well done, Pete. We all salute you. Make sure to salute him in the chat for creating this. This is, of course, talking about the Don't Look Back in Anger campaign that was particularly wheeled out when there was the Manchester Arena bombing. And, of course, we know that the government actually has a gaslighting campaign where they try and get the relatives to read out these cue card statements, just like diversity is our strength. And there are memes of that as well going around, but I've showed one of those recently, so I wouldn't do it again. And here is one from our very own, formerly our own, Callum. Hope you're doing well, Callum, if you see this. So he's sharing this in response to The Guardian. Far-right unchristian says Archbishop of Canterbury as he condemns riots. And Callum responds, rather than bringing up the point, he just shows an article of him hosting an Islamist for tea and cake, which, if he's saying they're unchristian, well, hang on a minute. Hardline Islamist for tea and cake. Is that not a bit more unchristian than standing up for one's country? Just saying. I mean, obviously the rioting is bad, but...
It's so curious that the far right can only be in the West. It never exists in other places for some reason.
I know. It's weird, that, isn't it? And also you get this. So one of the police commissioners threatened to extradite and jail US citizens over online posts. And I saw lots of paintings from the American Revolution being shared online, which was great. I really enjoyed them. Didn't take it personally, don't worry. And I respect that. Meme them, humiliate them, make them grovel and suffer. They deserve mockery. They are beyond contempt. They don't deserve anything less. So here we go. This is a screen from Game of Thrones with my favourite character in the whole show. Literally every single American today is threatened by the UK government for posting a meme, and it says F the King, which is one of the great moments in the show as well. And I mean, fair play to them. They did have a revolution to be independent of the crown, and now the commissioner, via the Crown Prosecution Service, is trying to extradite them for posts on the internet. I don't think that is something they should be doing. Also, Stone Toss made this. Of course, Stone Toss do a great job of showing these sorts of things in a similar sort of way to memes, although they're comics, obviously. Sire, the kingdom is being invaded, and the king looks startled. Arrest this man for hate speech, which is exactly what's happening in Britain at the minute.
You may have a whole army of invaders right outside your castle, and you may have people inside the castle saying, well, they haven't fired the shot yet.
Terrible, isn't it? So here's a post that I've shown already, but here's Harry pointing out that all the newspapers basically say the same thing. Here's the Mirror standing together, same picture, same title, same picture, same title, same picture, same title. And let's have a look at the Daily Mail, which is purportedly the way in which the right wing has been radicalized. Lots of leftists say the Daily Mail is the thing that radicalizes the right. It's just the media, you know. They don't think for themselves. They're just puppets. Night anti-hate marchers face down the thugs. That's the far right newspaper right there. Or trotting out the far leftist line.
Yeah, they have a testosterone reignited my libido after menopause. But then I discover I was happy as celibate.
What an obvious revival of traditionalism the Daily Mail is. But obviously the media presentation of things is ridiculous and worthy of satire as well. And so there are things like this. White-wing supremacist. Swan attacks foreign students. I don't even know if this is a real article. I don't know. But people are sharing it and using it to mock the media anyway. So it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. The message is the important thing. That's the point with memes, right? This is why they're trying to crack down on misinformation, because it has some power to shift narratives, to mock things, to make things uncool. And that is how you change people's minds, ultimately. Most people who aren't that politically engaged can still laugh at someone saying dumb stuff, right? And things being presented in a silly way. That's easy enough. So here is one that I showed again before. This is made by Russian Garbage Human. I forgot to attribute you last time, but I've done it again. And you were very happy about me showing this on the podcast. And now I've done it twice. It's like English buses. MI5 uncovers white supremacist plot to just sit back and enjoy the collapse of the United Kingdom. And this is, of course, in reference to the fact that for these protests that were scheduled last Wednesday, no one turned up because they weren't actually real. They were a hoax. And there's also this. These crowds at the Kamala's rally are insane. I believe this is from the Phantom Menace.
From Tatooine.
And this can be interpreted in multiple ways. This is sort of esoteric. I like to interpret it as, you know, there are a bunch of aliens on a planet that's known for illegal activity in the Star Wars universe. So a bunch of illegal aliens there supporting Kamala. That's how I interpreted it.
For some reason, maybe your interpretation is better, but I thought of Jar Jar Binks. And it seems to me that a lot of people in Kamala Harris's rallies, they are... No, they do have some of the mannerisms of Jar Jar Binks.
But I like Jar Jar Binks. This is the most extreme thing I'm going to say today. I found Jar Jar Binks funny in The Phantom Menace. Crucify me if you want, but you know, don't take the films too seriously. They're a bit light-hearted, all right. I like the prequels.
I mean, that's the whole idea.
I like the Star prequels. I'm going to come out and proud. I like the Star Wars prequels. Don't judge me.
I didn't like the last ones though.
Oh goodness no. Yeah. The sequels. Awful. But anyway, another thing I like doing and like seeing is people screenshotting the news and just sharing it. And the fact that they've screenshotted it highlights and calls people's attention to things.
You can't make it up.
This sort of thing, the media cannot crack down on you for this. This is sort of foolproof. If the crackdown of information gets to the point where, you know, everything is censored, you'll go to jail for stuff, just screenshotting media-approved articles and showing them to people for how ridiculous they are.
Yeah.
They can't ever crack down on that. This is like the foolproof last resort. But it is great. Obviously, the CNN's mostly peaceful protests are funny. But the fact that the BBC, in the recent protests mostly peaceful, are we at a turning point? Interesting that they say we as well. Like they're standing with the leftists when they had the protest that none of the opposition turned up to. And then here we go, mostly peaceful rallies, how the mood changed. They're literally doing the meme, the CNN thing that got clipped. They're doing it right there, right now in front of our very faces. And there's also this as well. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. Just sharing that on its own. We know Trump had an attempted assassination. Just sharing this without any commentary speaks for itself. You don't need commentary. These are just so ridiculous. That is the age we live in, and they've unintentionally created an environment where we can still be dissidents, even if we're just sharing what the media spoon feeds us. They can't fight that. They'll never win. Here we go. another one, CNN headlines with just Trump's face. Trump warns stocks will disintegrate if he loses, but stocks are climbing as Biden pulls ahead. Trump warns the markets will crash if he loses. Investors just laugh. And then global stock markets plunge with Trump smiling at the very end. I mean, you can be a complete moron and get the point of this meme, right? It's saying that the media was lying about what Trump was saying and Trump was right.
Yeah.
That's it. It's easily done. There doesn't need to be a wall of text, just the headlines and Trump smiling. This is laconic. It works. If you say things with fewer words, it is always better. I was being careful not to be too wordy there. I also like this one. So USA Today, this is a bit of a dodgy screenshot. You can just share this. Maine, the best thing about it, lowest violent crime rate. The worst thing about it is it's the least diverse.
Yeah.
What does that say if you share it in isolation? Well, let me tell you, perhaps diversity is not our strength unless you're a violent criminal gang, you know, you like crime.
Who wants safety when they can have diversity?
Exactly, yeah. It's almost like these two things are at odds. But anyway, here's another one that you can just share without any context. Man survived lightning strike only to suffocate to death when villagers insisted on treating his injuries by covering in cow dung in India. The point of sharing this is obviously to point out cultural differences because, you know, I'm no doctor, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you get struck by lightning in the West, you tend not to get smothered in cow dung. Well, maybe that's changing. You know, we've got a lot of foreign doctors these days, so, you know, they're bringing their expertise. You know, they're outstanding in the field,
cows,
aren't they?
And their cows.
Gathering the cow dung,
They
obviously.
should bring their cows.
Yeah. You threw off my joke. I was going to say they're outstanding in the field, saying they're good doctors, and then I was going to say collecting cow dung, but never mind. My dad joke was foiled. Well done. And here we go. South African township squalid and neglected despite 25 years of black rule. What is this saying, Reuters? What are you trying to say?
This reminds me from Dusk Till Dawn, the movie, where behind the bar they had just full of trash.
Sharing this in isolation, the implication's pretty obvious, isn't it? So there are also things like, I don't know what's going on with the links, but that wasn't meant to be there. So here we go. Bunch of diverse faces, British to be a minority, and then a British World War II soldier. What was it all for? Just trying to appeal to people saying, well, you fought to keep your country independent and then you've lost by proxy, basically.
Yeah.
Or by, you know, you've lost by importing lots of people from the third world in a nutshell. And there's also this meme, particularly good. Never thought I'd die fighting side by side with a Thai. What about side by side with a friend? And this is, of course, reference to Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland joining hands to protest immigration and realizing that actually, you know, the British Isles are far closer together culturally than the people they've imported to tyrannize us. So another one I've enjoyed is the AI edits of Keir Starmer's face. Here he is. This is Keir Jong-un. There he is, looking a bit strange, to be honest, a bit haunting. Also, this guy has got loads of these. He's been doing it, editing his face into all sorts of stuff, as well as other things. So yes, well done. And also, we have this from Turning Point. Big Keir is watching you. I think that this sort of thing works very well, referring to 1984. People read this in school. People know the reference.
Just on the Keir Jong-un thing, I watched the video. I sent it to Harry, but he didn't laugh. I think I sent it to you, where they said that, you know, there is an announcement to be made by BBC News, and they showed the North Korean anchor woman, you know, speaking with...
It's like a Freudian slip of news presenting there. So there are some questionable memes. So this one got on my nerves. This was Wall Street Silver, one of the potential slop accounts, with a British person saying, I don't feel safe in my own neighborhood, and an American saying, you literally voted for this, portraying us as soy and them as Chad. But actually, as Bo points out, we never voted for this, actually. We voted against it every opportunity, and it's forced on us anyway. And, you know, bad memes do get replied to. There's Carl saying, not true, I'm afraid. We always voted against it. We just aren't a democracy. Tim Davies saying the same thing. Calvin Robinson saying the same thing. Canadian Patriots saying the same thing. Everyone saying the same thing. But no, this is what you should get for posting these bad memes: crucifixion. Anything less, and you're soy. That is my message. But there are also some questionable memes which I cannot avow, but I'm going to show them anyway, because of course these things, you might find them quite funny, but they're probably regarded as over the line, and so I'm not going to laugh. I'm going to do my best. But these are the sorts of things that are pretty close to the line and could get you in trouble in the future, but you're not allowed to laugh, Stelios. You're not allowed. Keir Starmer will get you. So here we have an epitomization of the Black Lives Matter riots. A guy cycling a bike. He puts a stick in his own spokes. Damn white people. He says, help me, white people. And then he says, hey, that's my bike. You do good poker face. And then when blacks start looting, but you own a bookstore. This is, of course, in reference to all of the looting in the Black Lives Matter protests. And they targeted very specific shops. And there was a case of a town where this is a factually correct thing. The bookshop didn't get looted. And also there was a case in what we would call a supermarket in Britain, but like a food store. And they looted everything except the Father's Day cards. But make of that what you will. So why is everything in the store locked except for the sunscreen? So this is obviously a commentary on the crime rate in America. This is talking about the epidemic of shoplifting, and the obvious inference here being, well, you don't need me to tell you that. And here's another one. This one I think you'll like in particular. I think you can laugh at this one. This one's allowed. Padge, my son, and he's talking to his son about using a toilet versus using the street. And it's a comment on the fact that no matter what Western utilities people are provided, sanitation, sometimes culture just trumps the introduction of Western technology. And I live in Swindon. There are lots of Indians here. And funnily enough, by all the Indian food shops, there's a lot more mess than elsewhere. So there's some truth to this one. And the final thing I wanted to...
Just look at the hand.
I know, yes. He'll be preparing food with that later. Yeah. Anyway, it is worth mentioning as well.
Freddie was born there.
That's right. He's traveled all the way from India. He's an asylum seeker. But anyway, it's worth mentioning, yes, please stay safe in the Great Meme War. Please don't be too edgy because it'll get you in trouble. But have fun, Life is worth living. Memeing your enemies is a just cause. I want to see more of it. I want to see all the best stuff out there. I think mocking people and also working within censorship to not give up on your political principles, just saying, well, I'm going to be censored, I'm not going to say anything, is giving up. And I think that there is always a way to push your message, even if it's being censored. I hope you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters. And if you want to see what else we're up to, you can see behind the scenes from our obviously world famous election stream, the British election stream. And it's a lot of fun. Definitely sign up and watch it. And if you want to see all the other things that we're putting out, we post links to all of them on our Twitter. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.